how Prabhupada, in the short, relatively short purport that he gives, he mentions at the end here that, well, such kind of discussion is beneficial both to the person who is inquiring and to the person who's speaking. It is beneficial for both, isn't it? The pure devotees are not only satisfied by, no, just before that, it is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the questions, number one. Secondly, the pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others. So self-realization in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, self-realization is not only realization for our own self. Self-realization, it is a unique feature of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. It is a unique feature also of the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is a point that Srila Prabhupada is making here also at the end of the purport, that not only we should be eager to understand and to advance individually, personally, but we should be eager. We should have this eagerness to also broadcast this message of Krishna consciousness, involve as many people as possible, knowing that the more people come in contact with this knowledge, the more people cultivate this knowledge, they will become freed and liberated from the miserable condition of life, which is caused by our contact with the modes of material nature. So therefore, Prabhupada brings this point. One should be eager to broadcast this information to others, for they want to see the pure devotees, that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus, the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. When such a preaching opportunity, Srila Prabhupada nicely explains that, you see, I was an old man. Before going to America, I was already an old man. I was 70 years old, just about to turn 70. But I was inspired. I was inspired to preach the message of my Guru Maharaj. I was inspired to go to the Western countries, completely new place, new territory, new everything. But he was inspired. And of course, our Srila Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar Devotion how this inspiration, being inspired, being enthusiastic, inspiration and enthusiasm are like interconnected, must be present for someone to actually feel himself eager or interested or to preach the message. And therefore, this is how Prabhupada ends the purport here. This is the basic principle of missionary activities. So the Lord descends in the material world. He has a mission. Those who are fortunate to come in contact with the message of the Lord also adopt the same mission, are also eager to spread the mission of the Lord. That means preaching. So this will come, this can come, this should come automatically if we properly follow and apply the process of Krishna consciousness. And of course, that is, as Prabhupada nicely explains also, Titikshava Karunika Sridham Sarvadehinam. These are the qualities of a Vaishnava. Titikshaka, he's very tolerant at the all the unfortunate situations, all of the challenges that are presented, all of the obstacles or oppositions that may be there as well. He's very much tolerating situations and individuals who are impeding, trying to impede in so many different ways this mission of spreading Krishna consciousness, and especially foremost quality, karunika. He is full of compassion. One doesn't go out of their way, or one doesn't go out of his way. Prabhupada did not go out of his way to America if he didn't have compassion, isn't it? People who have no compassion, why bother? They don't bother about others. They are reluctant to accept any kind of difficulty. Labor of love, we call it labor of love. The devotees of the Lord voluntarily accept different inconveniences for spreading the mission of the Lord. So this is the beginning reply of Ramaji to the nice questions that were asked, that we read about in the last few days by Narada Muni, and very important instruction for us to to imbibe, how to also develop this inquisitiveness, which will bring about the desired result of having nice dialogue, nice exchanges, which will be purifying to both the person inquiring and the person who is responding, and which will ultimately be inspirational. It will be inspirational for spreading Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was constantly full of inspiration, and he would inspire his devotees to go to any part of the world to actually spread Krishna consciousness. And the devotees, both brahmacharis and householders, were very much in that mood and that mentality. And therefore, in the early days of Krishna consciousness, it was happening in a very wonderful way, the spreading of Krishna consciousness, with so many devotees being inspired and understanding, very enthusiastically taking up this preaching mood or missionary mood that Srila Prabhupada brought with him when he went to the Western countries. We will read the verse once again, and if there's any comment or question, then we can look at that. This is the translation to text number 9 of chapter 5, second canto, Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead." Voila. Any thoughts, comments, questions? Two kinds of ecstasy, yes. The ecstasy of the Paramahamsa, the pure devotee, and the ecstasy of preaching, yes. Can we call this or refer to this as Bhajananandi and Gosyanandi? Yes, Bhajananandi is one who is fully absorbed in his bhajan, And Prabhupada does explain that our line is primarily Gosyanandi line. And Prabhupada explains also, if somebody happens to be, I mean, it's rare to be, to attain that platform of Paramahamsa, isn't it? Yeah. It's our goal, but it's very rare. And Prabhupada explains that if someone happens to be there, he should come down to the preaching level. If one is on the level of, what is it? There's Kanista, Adhikari, and then Madhyam Adhikari, and then Uttam Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari means the Paramahamsa. Uttamadhikari, we can say, is the Bhajananandi, a platform. So for the sake of preaching, because there is an urgency, there is a crisis in the world today, and there is therefore an extremely urgent need for preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So yes, Bhajananandi can be compared to the Paramahamsa, and Gosyanandi to those who are engaged in preaching. Most people don't have to come down. We should come up. We should come up to the platform of Madhyamadhikari, isn't it? And therefore, Prabhupada explains also, we should be careful not to remain too long on the platform of Kanista. Kanista Adhikari means one who is still not fully surrendered, who is not having that full faith, and who is still not completely convinced or not still fully knowledgeable about the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, who is actually rather weak and not not still understanding the basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So from this platform of Kanista, which is the beginning, Kanista Adhikari means materialistic minded devotee, isn't it? So it is a very unsteady platform, because Kanista Adhikari can again become karmi, because he's very much connected with material ways of thinking and feeling and whatnot. So as quickly as possible, Srila Prabhupada explains, we should rise to the platform of Madhyamadhikari. At least we should come to that platform where we the primary feature or characteristic of the platform of Madhyamadhikari is this missionary spirit, preaching activities. And therefore one distinguishes between those who are innocent, those who are devotees like ourselves. Therefore we associate with devotees, we show mercy to those who are innocent. And we understand also who are completely envious and atheistic in nature. We avoid those who are envious, but even though someone may be Gnostic or non-believer, we try to introduce Krishna consciousness to them. So this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and Srila Prabhupada is continuing. Basically, it's a main branch, most important branch of the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, for spreading the mission of the Lord. And part of that mission we should clearly mention, because it has been outlined by Srila Prabhupada, is introducing Varnasrama Dharma. If we neglect to introduce Varnasrama Dharma, that means we're not understanding Prabhupada's mission. It's not simply a question of understanding Prabhupada's mission. It's a question of understanding the Lord's mission, because dharma samstapanarthaya means introducing dharma on these two levels: spiritual Swadharma, material Swadharma. We've made reference to this again and again, and therefore they need to go hand in hand. The recent developments, for example, in Ukraine, are are a sign, should be seen as a sign, and as a cue as well, for us to heed, to pay attention, to recall, to remember, to meditate upon those very important instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, that we as a society, we Krishna conscious people, should be should not be depending on the modern day setup of modern civilization, which at any time can crumble, is crumbling actually, and therefore we should be. We were reading about the sun being self-sufficient. So Krishna conscious devotees should also be understanding what it means to be self-sufficient. It means to be self-sufficient both spiritually, in terms of by developing Krishna consciousness, we will lead our lives based on these principles, concepts, this knowledge that is there in the Shastra. And part of those principles is to to live a simple life, depending on nature, and minimizing our necessities of life, so that our primary focus is on cultivating Krishna consciousness. So COVID-19 was the first major sign, giving us that very clear hint that, listen, become localized, isn't it? The second sign is what is going on right now. If we can't learn from what is happening around us, then we are slow learners. Of course, in Kali Yuga, by nature, people are slow. But Prabhupada was constantly pushing us and helping us to kind of come to speed, so to speak, to speed up and to understand by the cultivation of this knowledge from the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, that we should live according to the principles that are given in the Shastra. We should live the life that has been shown to us by Lord Krishna himself in Vrindavan. Vrindavan village life is the ideal village life that is meant to be lived by common people, by everyone, not only by devotees. That's how it was up until just a few hundred years ago here in India. So that is also very much part of our preaching and missionary activity. So I think we should close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sridham Prabhupada ki, Gauda Pimanande.